Right, Raphael here. So with an update as usual. So today, I was going to, I've been, you know, uh, just implementing fixes and refining things and making sure that everything's good before I decide to add in any more objects. And I found a couple of glitches, corrected them, but then I had a different idea here. I have currently implemented in my sprite class what's known as a radio system, which kind of behaves like uh, it kind of acts the same way as how Windows programs receive messages and they act on them. And the reason I want to do this is, for example, let's look at these objects right here, and you can see that if they if they um, if they detect if they're set to detect a left touch or a right touch, whatever, uh, we're constantly checking uh, to see if there's something there on every single pass, and that means that we have to check our array of objects to see if we're colliding with something or not. And then so let's go ahead and let's run the example here real quick. I've made several changes here. Okay, so I do have a feature activated so I can see the linking system is in work, which is what I'm working on right now. I've also created some new tiles right here, and I've also went online and found some trees and kind of just got them in there. So just experimenting how I can work with all of this stuff, and I still have to figure out how to make this move in case I have like bigger sprite sheets or anything. But for now, we are gonna put let's go ahead and let's use one of these, and we're just gonna place it here. We're just gonna make a test level, something really fast, nothing fancy. We just wanna 1, 2, 3, 4, and let's do it right here. Let's make kind of like a stairway there. Let's take it all the way up here. Let's open up this area so that maybe we can jump in there. Hopefully he can jump there. So we can demonstrate the example here. We're going to add a couple of these. There we go. I also have corners for these, so I got different types of corners. I'm missing a few, so I can definitely improve on this if I wanted to. But we're gonna leave it like this for now. Okay, so let's quit out of that. I think we've got all we need. So assuming, let's go to just got a message here. What's this? Let's see. Thank you. It's like interesting. Okay. So assuming, for example, let's get this mouse out of the way. Let's say we've got 4 objects here. As long as these objects are active, we're constantly checking our vector of objects to see if we're colliding with something. So we've got 4 here. So that means in total we have 1, 2, 3. We have 5 objects right now. So that means that for every single object, we have to check 5 objects. So that's 5 times 5. That increases it to 15. So imagine if we had a ton of these things, it would considerably reduce performance. So I was thinking there's got to be a better way that we only do something with the object if we interact with it. And that made me think, because I actually got this working on the spike triggers here. The way that these spikes worked, let's get rid of these. The way that these spikes used to work back then is they constantly check. They were checking constantly to see if there was something on top of them, and if they did, they would send a message to the player sprite saying, "Hey, I'm a spike. You're on top of me," and then the sprite would react accordingly. It would blink. But what I'm doing now is the object is only checking to see if there is a message there and acting on that message. So it's no longer cycling through that vector of arrays to check to see whether there's something on top of it. It only does it when it receives a message. So that's a much more efficient way of checking, I think. And I think I'm going to implement it for the objects and pretty much everything else, because it's way more efficient to make it event driven, as opposed to just having everything just constantly checking whether or not, something is doing something with it. So the minute we land on the spikes now, the player sprite actually sends a message to the object saying, I call the message on top. So the spikes receive that message on top, and it says, okay, there's something on top of us. Let's tell that object what we are. And it sends back a message saying, I'm a spike. And then the player sees that and says, okay, I'm supposed to blink or maybe lose a life, etc. So we jump on it and it blinks. So it works. If we touch it from the sides, it doesn't do anything because it doesn't check those sides. So, but if we jump on top of it, it detects that message and it acts on it. So this is what I'm going to do with these object series. I'm going to do that, and I think that will definitely, I may have to bring my counter in. So let's watch this linking system in work here that I wanted to demonstrate, because there is a glitch that I didn't see. I thought I was done with this particular object, and I'm obviously not. So basically, you'll see 1 and 2 here, 1 and 2, 1 and 2. Basically, the 1 means the 1 is the object that is a parent. The number 2 is the child of that object. So the bottom one, it starts from the bottom to the top. So that means that 1 is the parent of object that is highlighted in number 2, and then vice versa. You'll see on the second block, the second one from the bottom has a 1, and then it goes to the top, and obviously the one at the very top only has a 2. That means that it's a child of the object that is number 1 at the bottom. But there's a couple of glitches here. If you can see, we're gonna go ahead and we're gonna see how the links break up. So you can see how the link breaks. So we know the linking system is working. It took me a while to get it to work right. So we move on to the next object. You can see how the links just disappear, and these objects are no longer linked. So let's go ahead and let's go ahead here. Let's go the other way. Let's put him back at the top again. And now we're going to do something different. This is the glitch that I didn't catch. I'm pretty sure that this was working before, so I just have to figure out why it's not working now. So we're gonna do that, and what that's gonna cause the sprite that's on the top to fall on the second block from the bottom. So we're gonna go here, and it's gonna get pushed, and it will land on the bottom. And you can see how the linking system here is working. We got 2 number 2s at the top, and all that's saying is that there's 2 objects linked to the block that's on the bottom. So the block that's on the bottom is the parent to the 2 blocks that is on the top. That's all that means. But when we're in this situation now, this is what I've got to figure out. The block that is in front doesn't seem to be detecting that it's coming in contact with something. So it's going to go through this particular tile that's there, but the one behind it works correctly. So that is the glitch that I have to fix. They're both supposed to just get pushed back, and then I think I can move ahead. So I just got to figure out what's causing that and how we can fix it. And of course, these objects do try to link to me. So you can see here, let's go ahead and but they don't necessarily move with me. Again, if it's lagging, that's OBS Studio. So we're gonna go ahead and do that, and we're gonna go ahead and do this example again. So I'm gonna make the one fall on top of me. So you can see that it's linked to me. So in theory, it should go where my sprite go. But because my player sprite is not using that special function that causes objects to move with it, the object doesn't move. But technically, this is how we would want to do it. But I don't want to carry objects on top with me. That's a feature that, I don't know if you go back in my previous videos, I did have that working at that point. But for these objects, I don't want to carry them around. I just want to slide out of them. So that really doesn't bother me that much. So you can see the whole getting knocked off works. But when we have more than two sprites at the top of each other, the collision system isn't. The way I got the algorithm working, it's not seeing that there's something there. So we've gotta fix that. So I will try to fix that first, and then I will actually I will design these objects to work with the message system, and I think we should get better performance, and then we can move on to the next object which I plan to implement, which is actually a spring. So the spring will eventually be replacing this legacy object right here, which is called a pop block. So the logic 2D class will take over, and we will implement this object in the logic 2D class, because this is actually a spring. This is what a spring is supposed to do. It's just supposed to propel the sprite. The only difference is that when I do it with the logic 2D class, we're not only going to be able to do it from the bottom, we will be able to do it from the top, from the left, and from the right, and then I'll also add some extra features in there to add more functionality and make it look really good. So let's see, what other feature do we have here? Let's is there something else I want to okay, let's see how these corners work now. Let's check out these trees. So if I wanted to put a tree somewhere around here, why don't we put it somewhere back here? Let's add two. Let's put one in layer number 4, so we can just see how these work. Let's try this one. So you can just kind of see how this works, and I will talk about why this is very important soon. See, on a tile 2D game engine, you want any artwork that you're putting into it, you want everything to follow a specific tile format. Like here, every single tile on the screen is 100 by 100. But if you want to draw something that's bigger than 100 by 100, we have to split it up in tiles, because the reason is if this was a single tile, and we can't do that, when we blit that tree on the screen, for example like this, we're still blitting the entire tree, even the parts that are not visible. But in this setup, only the tiles that are visible on the viewport get rendered. So the other part of the tree here doesn't get rendered. So that's very important for performance, is you want to separate everything into tiles. You don't just want to import humongous bitmaps, because it's the bigger the bitmap is, the larger the blit operation. So that's how I improve performance. Okay, so there we go. Okay, we're missing something on the bottom here. So I staggered the trees in between two different layers, and I think we're all good to go here. So we're gonna do this example again with some fancy looking trees. Let's get this mouse out of the way, and we're just gonna go ahead and drop him down there. And now it's gonna look like we're just, so you can see how that works. That looks pretty darn cool. And you can see how we went behind that tree. So that's how the layering system works. So if I wanted to add more artwork, we can do that. And if we wanted to animate these trees, all we have to do is just assign the proper flipbooks on the sprite sheet, and they can do whatever they want. So if we wanted to make like a little moving flower that sits maybe here, we just create a set of frames for the animation of that flower, and we just put the flower in one location and we just cycle it, and that's how we get that. That's pretty much how that thing in the background here is working. This particular tile up there, it's got these funky little square moving in circles. That's called a flip book. What we're doing is just cycling between different bitmaps at a certain rate, and we get a nice animation. So that's cool. We can do that with those sprites. What else? Okay, let's also demonstrate how we can make a nice, some really nice rectangular boxes here. Let's go ahead and let's go here and let's see. Oops, wrong tile. So we're gonna add corners here. We're gonna put a corner. Oops, I did it in layer number 2. Let's go to layer number 3. We're gonna add a corner right there, a corner right here, and one right here. And then we're also gonna make a floor on the top. And then we're gonna put a corner on that side, just like this. And then on the side, oops, that always happens sometimes. So we're gonna totally encase that there. Then we're gonna use this. We're gonna put one right here. And on these sides, I created these little things here because you need these little corners to make it look more believable. And then we just fill the inside with this crazy looking Sonic the Hedgehog looking pattern from the original days. We can just go ahead and just paint all of that in one single color. There we go. Let's go back here. You can see, let's see. So there we go. That's how that kind of works. So if you just sit down and make some really good looking sprite sheets, we can make some awesome looking tiles. I've also created just a single one as well right here. So we can just put that one, maybe we can do something like this, and maybe one right here and one here, and we can get really fancy. Maybe we can add like a bottom floor here. Let's do it in pink. So we're gonna do this. We're not gonna get too fancy here. We're gonna switch to layer number 2. It is so much fun just working with this because it's crazy. And we're just gonna add a whole bunch of spikes right there. And there we go. That way if we fall down there, we just like die. Of course these spikes aren't activated, but this is a feature that I actually got to work as well. Let's see. So okay, let's add some more of those pinky looking tiles here. There we go. I think that's pretty darn good. We're also gonna get really creative here, and we're gonna give it, we're gonna make a ceiling right here just to make it more believable, and then we will be done with this video. Let's put a ceiling right here. Let's give it some style. Let's kind of end it right about there. That's good. Let's make a corner right here. There we go. Let's put another corner right here. There we go. And let's use that. There we go. And we can fill in that area. Let's put another corner right about here and close this corner up, and now we can paint the inside. Oh, whoops, whoopsie daisy. Oh, I did it again. Okay, we're gonna close that up, and then I think we're gonna fire this puppy up. Let's make this more interesting. Let's add some supports here. You just see how much fun you can have with this. Just messing around with it. I feel like I want to put another one there, but nah, I'm gonna leave it like that. I'm gonna leave it like that. Let's see. I think that's good. I don't know. I think that's, yeah, that should be good. So we're gonna go ahead. We're gonna play this. Let's get out of the developer mode here, and I'm just gonna go ahead and show this creation. There we go. That's pretty darn cool. And we got all those spikes down there. Of course, the player can't detect them yet. So assuming we were there, we would basically just we would die because we'd be walking on spikes. And if we wanted to get fancy, so one of the features that I do plan on adding, if we go back to the trees, let's see, if we go back to our trees here, you will see that I have to individually select all the tiles one by one to draw the tree. But in the future, I will make it so that I could maybe hold shift, maybe even control, and we can select multiple tiles at the same time. And then once we let go, we'll have the complete tree selected, and then we can actually drag it on the level right here. Whoops. We can drag it on the level here somewhere, and we can place that tree anywhere we want. So that's a much quicker way of doing it. The other thing that I plan to implement as well here is there was a moving platform around here somewhere, but I removed it just so I could work with this example. But the moving platforms, as you can see, objects are single. So what I want to be able to do when I work on the next object, which is a transport object, is just combine a set of tiles into just one really big bounding box. Basically, one really big bounding box so that we can make platforms that are just bigger than one tile. Because right now, we can only use one tile as a platform. I don't know if you guys remember, but the platform was something like, maybe assuming this was a platform, right now we can only make one. So if we wanted to make a platform, we can only make a single object right now. But in the future, I'll make it so that if I wanted to put, let's say, a platform here, we can make a platform that is maybe 3 tiles long, maybe 4, and then that whole structure will move as one thing, and then we just increase the size of the bounding box so that we can detect it when we come in contact with something, and we'll give that object all properties and stuff like that. So this is turning out pretty darn cool. Of course, I put those in layer 2, so if I jump on them, they won't be detected. So that is the update that I got for today, and I will see you guys I will see you guys in the next update, which should be good. I'll have a few things worked out. I wanted to do that before I ended this video. It looks like a freaking Super Mario. Matter of fact, I could turn this into a Super Mario game, but I really don't. Probably one of the things that I will do. But anyway, that's the update I got for today, guys. Thank you so much for watching. Again, if you got questions or comments, leave them below. Hit that subscribe button, and I'll see you on the next one. Bye-bye.